Let's meet some coaches from ICF Philippines. Every day for the entire duration of International Coaching Week, we will meet a couple of coaches who specialize in different types of coaching methodologies. Celine is a positive psychologist and a professional certified coach with the International Coaching Federation. She is part of the pioneer batch of Gallup certified strengths coaches in the Philippines. She is passionate about helping others discover what they are good at so that they can celebrate their sparkle.
Hi, Celine. You are here to represent the strengths community, and I'm sure that you are such a stellar figure in that environment. So I was wondering, when we say strengths coach, what does that mean for you?
So for me, Army, it's really about helping people discover what they're good at and what they already do well. So it's really allowing the person to discover their talents and strengths and understand how these benefit them and others as well.
I see. And how is this different, Celine, from other types of coaching?
Well, for one, it actually has its own framework. So the framework is name, claim, aim, and it's the recommendation is that you help your clients be able to go through this framework of name, claim, aim. So naming is being able to identify what your talents and your strengths are, and even identify what it means for you and how it plays out in your life. And then claiming is being able to see how you benefit from them and how others benefit as well from it. And the claiming bit is really important because you don't if you're not familiar with how you use your talents and how you benefit from them, then it's pretty challenging to actually be creative and intentional about using them. And so aiming is really that point when you're able to intentionally use it towards tasks, challenges, goals, and things like that. Another one that makes it different also is because it's Clifton Strengths, right? So it actually has an assessment. It leverages an assessment. And for me, that assessment actually helps people identify and gives them that language to identify what they're good at. And as in my practice as a counselor and as a coach, I find that people actually have a challenge with saying what they're good at. And so taking an assessment like this, it gives you a report, it gives you that starting point, and it really helps you to shift how you see yourself.
I see. Well, that sounds very interesting. And you talked about the name, aim, and claim framework. So let's say I'm completely new to strengths coaching, and I walk in and I have a conversation with you. What's something that I'm going to expect in a coaching session that I have with a strengths coach?
For one, I think each strength coach has their own, flavor to it. For me specifically, I actually break it down. I actually have one session that's all naming, right? And I really find that the name, claim, aim, it's foundational. So it really builds on each other. So I have a session that's actually this very first session is naming, and then the second session we actually start to claim and start expanding beyond just the definitions and how it plays out. And then the succeeding sessions now, that's where you get to be creative. You identify a goal or a challenge that you want to work on. And then the strengths language kind of, goes into the conversation as the sessions progress.
I see. And well, Celine, I know that when it comes to training, when it comes to education, you have a long list of things that, right after your name, there's so many credentials that follow. And I'm wondering, out of all the different types of coaching that one can go to, why does strengths coaching have a special place in your heart?
That's a really good question. It has a very special place in my heart because it actually is what moved me to coaching. So I actually am a licensed psychologist and I was doing counseling, but I wasn't really feeling very fulfilled about it. And yes, I knew I was helping people. I knew what I was good at, but there was just something that wasn't clicking for me. And then I took the strengths assessment myself. And when I read my results, the first two themes were maximizer and positivity. And people with maximizer are good at spotting what people are good at, and they're good at quality, if anything related to quality, right? And then the other one is positivity. Obviously, like I'm cheerful. I like to be a cheerleader. I like to cheer people on. I like to have fun. And so I felt that I wasn't able to really leverage on these when I was new to the counseling world, at least. And then when I discovered strengths, I was like, "Ooh, this is so interesting." And so I really started learning about it. And then it was, when I learned more about it, it's like, okay, I think this is really what I want to be doing. And that had come so much later on after exploring other things, other tools and assessments, at least in terms of my counseling practice. So also, RB, I wanted to add that it's special for me because it gave me a really easy transition from counseling to coaching. I didn't know anything about coaching, and so my first move into coaching was really through the strengths world. And from there, that now launched everything into being a full blown positive psychologist.
I see. I definitely can sense your passion, Celine, when it comes to strengths coaching. And I'm wondering, like, what kind of fulfillment do you experience as a strengths coach?
For me, my wins are really like when people finally say like, "Oh yeah, that I'm good at that," or "Wow, I didn't know that was something I naturally did, and that I can actually use that." And really, especially when I have clients who come into the sessions, they only see the problems in them. They only see the challenges. And then little by little, as we progress, they're now, I don't even sometimes have to ask them. They're like, "Oh yeah, I can leverage on my activator, or I can use my communication talents to help me through this challenge." So it's really like, yes, great, you're now seeing so much, so much good in you, and so many things that you can use and leverage, and things that you actually have, right?
Right. And as I listen to you, Celine, like I can really see how being a maximizer and someone who has positivity could really be the perfect combination for a strengths coach. And from how you talk about making sure that people get to tap into their own strengths. And so this is the part, Celine, where we ask you for advice. I know that coaches normally don't give advice, but for people who are thinking about becoming a strengths coach, like, what are some of the tips, or I don't know, maybe some words of wisdom that you can share with them as they, make that journey to be a strengths coach themselves?
Well, the course is fairly simple. It's very straightforward. It's like a well, now it's a four whole day course, and it's done online, so it's very accessible. Something I encourage you to do is to actually discover your strengths, right? If you haven't taken the assessment, maybe you can start with that. It isn't very cheap to invest in the course, right? And RB would know this, but it's very worthwhile. Like, it really is like value for money beyond the value of what you even pay for. I actually have a friend who just took the course, and she was kind of, deliberating about it, thinking twice about it. And so I actually said, if you know where you're going to use it, if you know that you'll be able to use it, whether in workshops or in one-on-one coaching, then go for it. If you're not so sure and it's just currently like maybe something you're interested in, then I really suggest like get to know your strengths, maybe get a coach, right? Learn the language, and then maybe from there it'll just really spark your interest and fire you up to actually go for the course.
So, Celine, I personally know you as someone who is one of the movers and shakers of the strengths movement in the Philippines. And we actually call it a movement because we can tell that the strengths coaches are filled with so much passion to make sure that everyone gets it. So I was wondering, Celine, what fuels that mission of yours to spread strengths coaching in the country?
So I really believe in it. And, like, what I loved about strengths when I took the course, it was actually one of the best courses I had taken. again, because people do see the price tag, but again, value is like tenfold of that price tag. And when I had gone through the course, I loved how it was flexible. You can really use the strengths language basically with anything, like whether it's challenges, leadership, whatever it is, right? Whatever it is in the corporate world or personal, it's flexible in that sense. It can be used with individuals, it can be used with groups. But at the core of it, like, I really believe in it because I've felt the difference in myself when I discovered what my strengths were, and when I can now actually intentionally use my strengths when I'm going through struggles or challenges. I can actually go like, okay, what is getting in my way, and what should I be leveraging on, or what should I be using if I'm not using something, right? Um, and really, it actually ended up giving me my purpose as well. So I discovered my purpose as I went through this whole journey of becoming a coach and using strengths more in my practice. And it's really helping people discover their sparkle and being able to celebrate that sparkle. And so that's really the continuous drive for it, that I want to keep helping people and helping other coaches. Their purpose might be completely different from mine, but if I'm helping other coaches do that, then I'm still being able to fulfill my purpose.
I have one more question all of a sudden.
Sure.
So I hope it's okay. Like, I know that you recently got your credential as a professional certified coach. Congratulations. And I know
Thank
that's
you.
not something that's easy to accomplish. And now that you have two worlds, well, actually, you have a lot of worlds, but how do you combine being a PCC with being a strengths coach?
So that was a bit of a challenge for me at the start because I knew that, like the framework of name, claim, aim, the fact that strengths does have its own language, it wasn't always very aligned with the ICF, PCC, markers that they look for. But at least now, like what I've heard is that Gallup is starting to align the course and making sure that the way the coaches are trained does align with ICF. For me, what has helped me is because I do have like counseling background, and then strengths is now like an option. So it's and so the ICF PCC side of things actually in the training actually broadened how I coach. So before it was like, at starting with strengths coaching, it was just that's my toolbox, strengths coaching. And then now I have other things. I'm able to move better. I'm able to dance better with my clients. Um, and then still also, again, eventually, right, finding ways that people can leverage on their strengths as well.
Great. Thank you so much, Celine. That was such an interesting discussion, and you gave us a glimpse of what it's like to be a strengths coach. Thank you. Thank you for spending your time with us.
Thank you, Arvi, and thank you for inviting me for our coaching week.